Welcome to the Ben Stillwater Radio Show.
Coming to you from the Buckaroo Studio at Livingston, Montana.
With your host, Ben Stillwater.
And your co-host, Cyndee Jean.
Hello, everyone. Glad to have you on the podcast today on the Ben Stillwater Podcast.
That's the co-host, Cyndee Jean, and I'm in a co-pilot test run seat.
Mr. Ben Stillwater.
Yeah. Well, we got coffee and some conversation going on, and we're thinking about some guitars again. The guitar we're thinking about today is a Gibson flat top with a beautiful pickguard on it, a hand inlaid pickguard they call the Gibson Dove.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got the flame maple back and sides. This guitar was probably most notable by the 1960s. It's definitely it is a square shoulder. A lot of the Gibsons were the slope shoulder, like the J45s and the 35s and all them, J50s. And so this was a square shoulder flat top for Gibson.
Yep, I'm looking at it right now, and those pearl inlays are really nice.
They used to do them by hand back in the early days.
Oh yeah.
There were people. There's a little bit of German history to it, the art inlay on them, and of course the wood is beautiful craftsman. This guitar was built not long after the move from Kalamazoo, Michigan, the Gibson plant, over on to right here by Bozeman, Montana.
Right.
So this guitar is like a 93.
Okay.
So not too far into the new Bozeman place for Gibson. But we got the nice little spin here on an instrumental that I got the chance to write, inspired by one of the Tom T. Hall records, was called In Search of a Song. And of course Tom T. was from Kentucky, out there in the hills, and he just run around the hills and talk to these old people and write all them songs. So I came up with a little tune we were going to play on here with the Stillwater Kids and Cyndee Jean and this beautiful Gibson Dove guitar, The Hills of Kentucky.
What's the difference between the Gibson Hummingbird and the Dove?
Or the Dove. Well, the Hummingbird is a longtime favorite of many people, and I think the Dove is a little overlooked because the popularity of the Hummingbird happened pretty quick, probably because of the mahogany back and sides. Playability is, I guess, everyone's preference. I mean, everybody gets a different sound with different hands and different thoughts and different rooms maybe, but I'd say overall the high end is going to be a little different on the maple style, on like the Dove, and then the warmer sound. You know, it's similar to like a D18 Martin with the Hummingbird because of the mahogany. They're pretty different guitar really, but similar in shape and in style.
Yeah, I like mahogany.
Yeah, they're nice and balanced and warm.
Yeah.
Got a little mid thing going on. Of course, the longer you play them, the smoother they sound.
Mm-hmm. Ben Stillwater Podcast, Rawhide, Rhinestone Records.
Well, coming to you from the Buckaroo Studio here in Livingston, Montana.
Yeah.
And of course, you can check out the store here on Main Street in Livingston. It's called Stillwater Treasures. That's where we are, and doing the podcast from in the Buckaroo Studio. And of course, you might not know that some of the music we play on the show is older than I am. So,
a bit.
Yeah. So what Cyndee's got over on her side of the production table is a record player. So we play 78s, 45s, 33s. Anyway, it's a neat little thing. This one here, we're talking about a place on the Rawhide, would be one of the most well-known cowboy singers of all time, Gene Autry.
Yeah.
And out there in California, he owned a ranch for many, many years. It's still a place you can go to today, Gene Autry Ranch. And of course, like the first episode of Gunsmoke, probably the pilot, was filmed on Gene Autry's ranch out there in the Hollywood Hills. Well, California Hills. I don't know how close it is to Hollywood, but in that area right there.
I think Gene was most known, well, I don't know about most known, but for his Christmas songs. Oh, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. There was Frosty the Snowman, and Here Comes Santa Claus.
Here Comes Santa Claus.
Yeah.
And he wrote some of those songs, if not all of them.
Yeah.
I know it's still some of the most played Christmas songs every year. It still gets a lot of play. Of course, it was a big run for Elvis Presley on Here Comes Santa Claus.
Yeah, that's right.
And Gene's also known to be one of the most important people of country music. Would you believe that?
I believe it.
You believe it?
Yeah.
Well, that makes two of us. Now everybody probably remembers some of Gene Autry. He was quite a cowboy singer, and then of course they put him in. They call him the pioneer of country music. And then of course there's been a lot of other people too. He's not the one, but one of the pioneers of country music. And he's in the Country Music Hall of Fame.
Right.
And the Nashville Songwriter Hall of Fame. And he's in the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
He's all over the place.
I believe he had the first gold record ever printed.
Yep.
Ever done.
Yeah, I read that.
So he kind of wrote the book on recording artists.
That's amazing.
It is. He's around a long time. In the 1990s, he was still known as one of the top money makers of all Hollywood.
Wow.
And he was a retired man.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to turn the Rawhide and Rhinestone Records over to Cyndee Jean there.
All right. Let's hit the trail.
And I dream of the things I'll do with a Subway token and $1 tucked inside my shoe, like a rhinestone cowboy.
Here's Gene Autry back in the saddle again.
He's back in the saddle again. I'm back in the saddle again. Out where a friend is a friend, where the longhorn cattle feed on the lowly gems we. I'm back in the saddle again, riding the range once more, toting my old 44, where you sleep out every night and the only law is right. Back in the saddle again, whoopie-tie-I-oh, rocking to and fro. Back in the saddle again, whoopie-tie-I-hey, I go my way. Back in the saddle again.
Well, there you had Cyndee Jean over there on the Rawhide and Rhinestone Records.
Yeah.
Giving old Gene Autry a spin again. And, of course, it's good to hear them old records. And, right alongside Gene Autry was several other cowboy singers. Monty Hale, they were more silver screen, maybe, they were Hollywood cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
There was only a few that just sang, but most of them sang and rode and captured the bad guys.
Yeah.
And public cowboy number one, that's Gene Autry. But in 1937, there was a guy named Ray Whitley that was a cowboy singer, and he thought because Gene played a lot of different guitars, but probably the most, he was like Martin flat tops, some of the pre-war beautiful guitars. But in 1937, Ray Whitley went to Gibson Guitar Company in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and said, "I'd like to build a custom order on a guitar." So with him and Gibson, they got together and came up with a guitar for Ray Whitley. And he wanted to have a guitar that was one up on Gene Autry.
Oh.
Any one that Gene played, he said, "I want one that's going to show him up on television." So they took the design of the Gibson L5, really, and the Super 400. So like the early styles of Gibson possibly came from, there was a publication back in the early 1900s called the Gibson Girls.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, and so I think the
Girls.
appeal of these beautiful women kind of went into the design of the Gibson guitars, the curves and the ornament inlays and all the binding, made a great looking instrument. So they took the design, the curves of those really nice Gibsons, and then put it into a flat top because they wanted the warmer tone probably of the flat top compared to a Gibson arch top that didn't work good if you were on a mic and didn't want the guitar, that sound bleeding through your mic, or out on the range you wanted that nice warm sound for your horse so he's happy.
Yeah. Well, they must have been some girls.
Yeah, they was.
Wow.
They were illustrated. An author had, he painted the Gibson Girl. But yeah, they were good looking, and so were the guitars. So 1937 was the first SJ 200 that became the standard run of what's known as the J200.
Oh.
Which a lot of people played that, very famous guitar. Just a little bit of the history there on the competition with Gene Autry with Ray Whitley, and they started out a beautiful guitar series in 1937 because of it.
Howdy and hi to Brian Bethke.
Yep.
Okay.
Howdy there, Brian. Thanks again for all your help.
You bet.
Be sure to check out Brian Bethke on Facebook there. He's got all kinds of things going on.
He does.
And, of course, Mary there on WWIS.
Yep, 99.7.
Up on the hill.
You're listening to the Ben Stillwater Podcast.
Well, we got what we call the local part of the program on the Ben Stillwater Podcast. And remember, you can go to Ben Stillwater Facebook anytime and check out all the new things on there, benstillwater.com. And we'd love to hear from you on the Facebook there. You can write us a note and stop by on there and visit what's ever going on the website, and you can check all that stuff out. But we call it the local, and we like to cover local things. So this one here is coming to you from Livingston, Montana, up in Wolf Point, so it'd be northeastern Montana. There was a man born there in 1910. Well, at least he's made statements that he was unsure where he was born because his family moved around a lot, and Wolf Point is near Canada and North Dakota. So
that's pretty far.
You don't jump too far like a jackrabbit and you go into North Dakota or Canada. But anyway, they figured he was born as Wolf Point, Montana.
Mm-hmm. And his name was Monty Montana?
Yeah, that's right. And then he had a son, Monty Jr., so Monty Montana Jr. Gonna kind of extend the name a little bit.
That's a pretty cool name.
Yeah, so Monty Montana, that's a tongue twister.
It is.
His first performance is recorded in 1925 at the Miles City Rodeo. And the announcer forgot his name.
Oh.
And he come out and he said, well, here's this Montana kid, Monty from Montana. So that's how he actually got his name, Monty Montana. He didn't have a script down right.
So did he ride in a rodeo?
Yeah, he rode, but I don't know how much he did in the bucking series. He was a trick roper.
Oh, okay.
So that was his thing.
Uh-huh.
He did trick roping and trick riding, all kinds of it. He was a stunt rider, and so we have a list of things he done. He was a stunt double for Roy Rogers
Oh.
And I'm here to tell you, folks, Roy Rogers took a lot of falls on the Roy Rogers show. So his stunt double was probably pretty busy.
He was.
He was always getting shot off that horse. But and then the movie, The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, you remember who was in that show?
Yes, I do.
Big tall guy called the Duke.
Yeah.
John Wayne. He was with him in that show. And, of course, he roped Will Rogers.
He roped him?
Well, he probably did. But he worked with Will in different programs and things, so he'd do tricks as part of the show.
He's all over the place.
Yeah,
too.
and then, of course, he worked with Gene Autry, Ronald Reagan, Jimmy Stewart, and just roping and riding acts. He's quite a feller. And in 1953, he roped the President of the United States. That's how important cowboy singers have been to American history and music.
Would that be Eisenhower?
That's the one. You act as though you remember that.
Well.
You're almost on it. But so in 1953, he roped at the inauguration in Washington, D.C.
Oh.
It was part of the act, or the show, that he roped the new president,
That's pretty cool.
Dwight Eisenhower. His son, Monty Jr., was born in 1934.
And I got this all ready to roll here on the record player.
How I long for my home in Montana. I am tired of the highways that I roam. Oh, the great golden West is the land that heaven blessed, and I am homesick for my old Montana home. How I long for that land of shining mountains, where they rise in the blue of heaven's dawn. Many years I have spent in that place of sweet content. Those mountains call me back to my Montana home. 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 And so I'm going back to my Montana home. Oh, I know my remaining days are numbered. I have only a few more years to spend, since the best place on earth is the land that gave me birth. In old Montana I will reach my journey's end. I'll be home.
That was a nice song.
Yeah, it's beautiful music.
Oh.
They got all the backup singers, a little bit of bass and rhythm.
The end there, I felt like I was riding a horse.
Yeah, kind of got you in the get you in the mood. Well, another guy that gets you in the rhythmic mood is a guy called, now it's time for the original American songwriter part
Yes.
of the podcast, the Ben Stillwater Podcast, that is. So if you really want to get rhythm, you should really listen to Johnny Cash.
He's got rhythm, all right.
He's got rhythm and he's got a lot of songs. The guy come out of Arkansas and cotton fields and all that hard work and poor folks. I don't know a lot about Johnny Cash. I know when he started with his traveling show would have been Johnny Cash at Tennessee 2, when he did like the first Folsom Prison appearance, the concert, the famous one, where Merle Haggard was at the time. And so then he had the Tennessee 3, and that Luther Perkins was a guitar man. He played the early 50s Telecaster on all the boom chuck things with the Johnny Cash guitar rhythm. Johnny favored the D35 Martin later on.
He got rhythm on that.
He did. I've heard it said that in the studio he would put paper or a dollar bill on his strings so he could get more of that shuffle sound.
That train sound?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not sure it wasn't there, but I have been to Memphis at Sun Records. Mm-hmm. That's a cool place to go. Check that out, where Sam Phillips started that. But so John definitely had that sound that come from the deep South, gospel, blues, and of course he started to be a writer, and then he hit the road later on. So Carl Perkins playing guitar after Luther passed away, and a lot of the records that you hear were Carl Perkins.
Oh.
Carl joined the show.
Blue Suede Shoes.
Well, that was Carl's song.
Yeah.
But he wrote that. But when he played for John, he was just a picker.
Oh, okay.
So all that sound you hear, a lot of that came from Carl.
Oh.
Carl was a rockabilly. I don't know how Johnny Cash got called country. Really, he started. He was like rockabilly, but he fit best probably in the country music, I guess. But as a writer, he took off, and he had many hits, and then he hooked up with other writers that helped out a lot, like Chris Christopherson and Willie Nelson and stuff. And he sang some of theirs, but John was an improviser. The way I see it, he would just sing and play his songs, and they were. We all know his stories and the sound of his voice, and so the Statler brothers started with the Carters. So it was a Johnny Cash and a Tennessee 3. So Marshall Grant was on bass, Carl was on the guitar, and you had the Carter family, and then the Statlers. That was the show.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
That was a Johnny Cash show. And it toured all over the United States. And then, of course, he ended up marrying June Carter. But then the Statlers, they did a neat song. If you look up the Statler brothers, it's called We Played for Cash. So I've heard it from guys that I know in Nashville, the session guys, they were recording Johnny Cash, and he stepped out for lunch, and they recorded Flowers on the Wall with a banjo and the rest of John's pieces.
Right.
So they started a career. John, I've heard that said too, that John said, well, you guys are wasting your time. There's never been a quartet that made it in country music.
Oh.
So they just kept,
did he know.
Yeah. They just kept singing along, but so a lot of the sound of Johnny Cash really was the Tennessee 3 and the Carters and the Statlers. That's what made Johnny Cash really a legendary performer. And then it went into the Johnny Cash show in the 1960s that was filmed at the Opry, which is a very famous show because John broke a lot of barriers, and he had Dylan on there, he had Roy Robertson, you name it, John Denver.
Wow.
And you want to hear an interesting duet? Hear Johnny Cash and John Denver sing Country Roads. You got Johnny Cash way down low, and John Denver's up high like a tenor. Anyway, here we got Johnny Cash singing Get Rhythm.
Hey, get rhythm. When you get the blues, come on, get rhythm. When you get the blues, get a rock and roll feeling in your bones, put taps on your toes and get gone, get rhythm. When you get the blues, a little shoeshine boy, he never gets low down, but he's got the dirtiest job in town, bending low at the people's feet on a windy corner of the dirty street. Well, I asked him while he shined my shoes, how'd he keep from getting the blues? He grinned as he raised his little head, he popped his shoeshine rag, and he said, get rhythm. When you get the blues, come on, get rhythm. When you get the blues, a jumpy rhythm makes you feel so fine, it'll shake all your trouble from your worried mind. Get a rhythm when you get the blues. Get rhythm. When you get the blues, come on, get rhythm. When you get the blues, get a rock and roll feeling in your bones. Put taps on your toes, get gone, get a rhythm. When you get the blues. Well, I sat and I listened to the shoeshine boy, and I thought I was gonna jump with joy. Slapped on the shoe polish left and right. He took his shoeshine rag and he held it tight. He stopped once to wipe the sweat away. I said, you mighty little boy to be a-working that way. He said, I like it with a big wide grin. Kept on a-popping and he said again, get rhythm. When you get the blues, come on, get rhythm.
Well, I'd like to play a song now that you wrote, The North Wind. How was it that you wrote North Wind? How did that happen?
Well, it happened pretty easily. It was a pen and a paper. No, that song was another one that I lived with. It was just a song that was in me. Some of my experiences and just thoughts and process of life. And we were in the middle of an album in Nashville, you remember, and it was the Montana Country Road, which was about 14 songs.
Yeah, yeah.
Big project. But midway, I decided, man, I should have you sing it. And I thought that would fit pretty good. So I used the same lyrics and then changed the chords and the flow of the melody completely around. So if you heard me sing it and then heard Cyndee sing it, it's a different song, same words. But we changed it a little bit and put it together, and it turned out pretty good. We got the A-Team on this.
Yeah.
They're down in Nashville, Tennessee on this song.
Well, it's time to say so long from the Ben Stillwater Podcast.
Well, it's been quite a ride with all the Buckaroos out there on the Ben Stillwater Podcast, and we're coming to you from the Buckaroo Studio in Livingston, Montana. Stillwater Treasures right off of Main Street. You can check out on Facebook and see all the things happening. We went from the hills of Kentucky to the Gene Autry Ranch, where they filmed the first episode of Gunsmoke, and many other westerns along the way at the Gene Autry Ranch, and some songwriters along the way. And well, what else did we do on this? We did the Rawhide Records, Rhinestone Records, and then that Montana. It's been quite a journey.
Yeah,
been a good program again. See you soon.
You'll make it home again. Keep on traveling. the north wind.